Good afternoon, Ben Brook here. I am talking to you today from my backyard. I have just returned from a pretty epic trip up to the Grayson Highlands State Park in southwestern Virginia and the Mount Rogers High Country. What made it epic, of course, in addition to the surroundings, was something that was a little bit unexpected, and that had to do with the way the weather played out. I was expecting one thing, and I got that, and I got it in a huge amount, but I was also not expecting some other things that turned up. So the other thing I want to say about this trip is it was one that I hesitated to do. There's been a lot of sort of bear activity up in that region the last couple of years, a lot of bad human practices in terms of not hanging their food properly, things like that, have led to some problematic encounters with bears, and bears typically don't end up doing too well in those encounters. But when I got to the trailhead, I discovered something that those encounters had sort of resulted in, and I didn't know that before I got to the trailhead. So this is about my experiences in a 24-hour period, thereabouts, up in southwestern Virginia. Hope you enjoy. Things that it would have been useful to know prior to arriving at the trailhead. Hey, it's a little after 5, and I am on the AT Connector Trail, which goes up behind me. And I am working my way up towards Rhododendron Gap, and plan to camp up there tonight. Lots of warning signs around that say I need to put up my food in a bear box. They have bear boxes up here now. Never had to do that before. I also talked about bear canisters. I don't have one of those, so it's a good thing that there is this option for bear box. In any case, I'll keep you posted as I move along. So the beauty of this is I've just come out of the woods on the AT Connector Trail, and already I'm in some fairly traditional landscape here for Grayson Highlands and the Mount Rogers High Country. These are, I should call them huckleberry thickets up here, blueberry thickets, and first glance at some mountains here. And plenty more of those. All right. Unfortunately, I'm headed up towards the wind, but let's go. All right, one of the things that we were expecting today was winds gusting up to 45 and 50 miles an hour, and you can hear it. As beautiful as all that is, it's amazing too what you have on this side. Daffodils beginning to grow. Almost ready to sprout. Okay, I'm at the just past the junction of the Appalachian Trail southbound and the Spur Trail. I just wanted to try to capture some of this intense wind that's gusting through here. Crazy. All right, well, pardon the shaking of the camera and the wind noise. I've made it to this junction. I'm going up over those two balds. This is Highland balds. All right, so the wildlife sign says, "Keep the wild in wildlife. Do not feed or pet the ponies." Let's see if I can zoom in enough over here. You might see that there are some ponies down there. This, by the way, is my view. My view from a bench. Pardon the shaky camera work, the wind is that strong. This is the ridge I hiked along, came down, around, and up here. It's been good. So, behind me, of course, is the sun. Yeah. And behind me that way are choices, trails. Got to figure out which trail I want to go. So, I hear people. All right, I'm on the Appalachian Trail where it goes on Wilburn Ridge. I was told there are some ponies up here somewhere. I know there are. I've already seen a herd. But kudos to the trail organization here for maintenance. Check out these steps. Absolutely gorgeous. Much appreciated, especially with all the water that collects around. Very nice to have steps. All right, and they continue quite a ways. Very impressive. All right, I'm gonna put this up, tuck it in. All right, so this is the view from my mountain. A lot of mountains over there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, when you wonder why you come up a mountain when you're getting 45 to 55 mile per hour wind gusts with steady 20 mile per hour winds, behold, that's why. And I got the sunset behind me over here on the mountains as well. But it's definitely windy. It is definitely windy. So I'm wondering, what on earth is this? It's ice. So where does ice come from? See that tree? Had snow showers this morning, allegedly, and it looks like the snow April 15th, and you got snow frozen to the trees, and a beautiful moon, and a beautiful view. I keep having to take these pictures because as I get higher it gets more spectacular. But you'll notice the snow from the snow showers I assume this morning, they were in the forecast on the trees, on the evergreens. And a little river that I have to navigate through. Very seasonal, of course. The view continues, as does the AT, so onward. All right, I'm here in this kind of bouldery looking area. Let's see if I'm all the way zoomed out. Yeah, sorry. All right, I'm gonna go up here. I believe this is what is known as Fat Man's Squeeze. Ugh. right, this little tree here. Yep. You see my target on the other side here. Sorry about that. I had to use my hands to get myself through. I'm a little out of breath from some uphills recently. All right, ladies and gentlemen, necessity is the mother of invention. It is really windy. This is the inside of a beer container where I'm required to store my food. And that's just fine with me. But I'm going to heat it up here and actually use the beer container as a windbreak. So let me get dinner ready. Well folks, I ate my dinner at the beer box kind of hurriedly. I didn't really wait for it to fully rehydrate because it was getting cold fast. Came back over here. I don't know if you can tell. There's sparkles. That is ice crystals on this tent. And that is because it is 28 degrees. So I need to get my ducks in a row. I got a few more things that are out that I need to put up. Double check my bag, get it in my tent, get in there myself, get warm. So, probably going to be about it for tonight. Good morning. It is it's definitely morning. Let me see what time it is. It's about 6:27 in the morning. And I'm just up, taking in the views, watching the sunrise over here. What a night. So I slept pretty well. We're getting somewhere. Yeah. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous sight. Can't see a whole lot this way. The woods are just beginning to wake up. But anyway, last night, that gusting wind continued well into the night. So you can see a little star. It's not really a star, I believe that's Venus. It's hard to tell. But anyway, the gusting winds continued well into the night. And it was cold. While I was eating dinner, the temperature dropped. When I crawled in my sleeping bag last night, it was 27 degrees. And I don't think it was forecast to be anywhere low, close to that low. So it was a little intense. My sleeping bag and quilt combination got me down to about 20. And I wouldn't say I was super warm, but I wasn't cold. the wind kept blowing in and has a way of, getting in and under things, even in a tent when it's going 45 miles per hour in terms of gusts. So I went from having that really heavy sort of wind early on to much lighter normal gusts this morning. And when I woke up, it looked like the temperature had risen about 10 degrees to about 37 this morning. So that's also a plus. All right, let me continue. All right, back at the bear box, which is a sight for sore eyes. Okay, this is the bag of water I hung last night. A little bit frozen, but there's even ice on here last night and it's gone. So that tells me that, yeah, it's warmed up. Whatever pushed through that cold front, it left behind it some warmth. So in just a moment here, I'm going to get going. I've already pre-measured some water here for my morning breakfast, but first of all, I think that was premature because I'm going to have some morning coffee here and enjoy the sunrise. So let me get that going. All right, once again, I am using my cooking in the bear canister mode. This contains the scent and also provides a wind break, so it's going to work pretty well. We'll have some hot coffee soon. As you can see, the light is really beginning to amp up over here in terms of our morning view in the sky and its beauty. So I want to get over there and take a look at that in a second again. Let me tell you, it's so hard, turn your eyes away to stir your coffee and look back, and it's gotten that much more spectacular. I don't know if you can see the lines of mountains here that the naked eye can see. That little knob there is the one that was completely covered in snow-covered trees yesterday from that prevailing wind. We'll see how it happens today, if they blow off or what. Gorgeous. And on this side, my coffee is ready. That's also gorgeous. Okay, so the plan for the day is to absolutely enjoy the scenery up here. It's absolutely spectacular. What I'll probably do is laze around this morning since I'm up fairly early. I took my time getting up here, lollygagging, taking lots of pictures yesterday because, why not? Just check out the views, right? And I'm going to do some more of that today, but there's a place over here called Roto Gap that has a really nice rock you can scramble up and see a view. It's often described as one of the prettiest on the Appalachian Trail. And I just want to kind of savor this spot. It's been about probably 5 or 6 years since I came back here. Years ago, my former job had me coming here every year. I took a group of kids up here, excuse me, and it's just a beautiful spot. It's one of the prettiest places around. And it's just 2 hours from my house, plus, another couple to get in, depending on which way I'm hiking. So that's an interesting sort of dilemma. Pick your route. This morning I'm going to have some Mountain House breakfast skillet, which I absolutely love, but I think I'm going to wait a little bit, enjoy this coffee, and just kind of enjoy the view around me for a little bit. Then we'll get up, do some exploring after some breakfast, take in some more views, leisurely pack up, and we'll go from there. So thanks for coming along this far. Well, I'm enjoying this view, and I look over and I see that I have a visitor this morning. This is one of the many wild ponies that lives up here. Well, it hasn't been a whole lot longer since I last filmed, maybe 5-10 minutes, but now the sun is giving definition to the mountains that were just silhouettes in the past. My little friend is still busily working, grazing away. Okay, so one of the things I did in my infinite wisdom was forget my koozie for my Mountain House meals. However, I have a dual purpose solution to this, and that is I simply tucked it inside of my jacket. So now, in addition to warming up, it is in an insulated way. It's also heating me up, and I have no problem with that. All right, I have just come from, well, let me just orient you a second. I've just come from the beer box. You see the horizon over there in the distance through the trees. Over that little rise and out on the plains is where the beer box is. This is a beautiful group campsite. I've camped here many times with groups in years past. Really nice. But I'm headed out on this trail, and this can give you a sense of the kind of night we had. So lots of moisture, right? And it produces this frost that comes up in really beautiful patterns out of the soil. I may try to get a better picture of that. All right, so that means that my path this morning is a little crunchy as I'm going through here. Just look at all these beautiful little spots just off trail. This is like nature painting stuff. This is the trail I remember. I was looking for this trail last night. And I couldn't find it. But I believe it may just be the AT. It's just the southbound portion of the AT beyond Roto Gap. And Roto Gap is where I'm headed this morning. The ice from the frozen boot tracks. This gives you a really good sense of how, oh, the bird just flew by. Really good sense of how pretty this area is. We got some more. Another campsite here. Let's check it out. Again, there's a fair amount of flat spaces here where you can tuck away tents. They have kind of hidden the fire ring over here where you can use a rock as a natural spot. Okay, here is confirmation that I was on the AT southbound. Mount Rogers Spur Trail, if you want to go to the top of Mount Rogers in 1.5 miles. It's a wooded mountaintop, but it is the highest spot in Virginia, so you can do that. I am continuing down my crunchy, ice-laden trail. Well, it's the ice poking up through the ground that's making it crunch like this. Past these beautiful, what are they, balsams, I think? They're gorgeous in their own windswept way, covered in lichen from all the moisture. And the thick rhododendron thickets. But the rhododendron that is so thick here in this green tunnel is what gives this place its name, which is Rhododendron Gap. And that's why I'm walking down this way, is to show you Rhododendron Gap. Ooh, look at the pretty way the ice froze here. Periodically, over time, I've seen, I guess, waves of freezing. All right, we got some opening ahead. I should be coming out both with sunlight. Woo, look at that sun. And also the trail up to this rock. All right. So let me do my casual little climb here. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rhododendron Gap. peek through this little opening here. I don't know if you can see it with the sun there, but beautiful surroundings there. Let's head up here. Spots widely regarded as trail. Now this rock face is great for rappelling, but it's a sheer drop off about 70 feet. I believe that is Matt Rogers. Now this is pretty. If you look way over here in the valley, you can see clouds still in the valley, probably about a river or creek. Ridges. That rock that looked so forbidding last night with the frost on the trees. Black rock, it's not black tonight. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is my where I'm going to nestle behind a rock and just enjoy this spectacular, spectacular scenery. Well, skillet. Cheers. So I noticed as I was going back along this trail that I came to this little rock sculpture here. It is in the middle of the Appalachian Trail. And just before Roto Gap, it says 500. And I'm assuming that means that if you've reached this point on a northbound hike, because of the way it's facing, I'm now returning to the southbound direction. But if you're reaching it on a northbound hike, you have reached the 500-mile mark when you reach Rhododendron Gap, essentially. So I'm not sure that's true, but that is my assumption. Kind of a neat little thing to find as you're moving along this crunchy frosted path on this winter morning, or spring morning, I should say, mid-April. All right, I returned from my hike to Roto Gap to see that the first little rays of sunlight are striking my tent here. That's good. Now last night, this was completely covered in ice and frost in weird ways. And then look what the wind, this tells you how powerful the wind was last night. You see this curl that it put into this pole? This pole was rigid and straight last night. So it just really did a number to that. Good thing those are good quality DAC poles. Now last night when I went to bed, it was 27. It is currently 38.3 degrees. So warmed up considerably since last night. And yeah, I think what I'm going to do is go retrieve my gear from the food box, everything out of there, and get all my gear back here, and think about how I want to spend the rest of the morning. So let's go do that. This is my little walkthrough that I did, repeated, let's see what time it was. I want to say 6:27, so about an hour ago. This is how things have changed in that hour, 7:31. Looks like my buddy is still grazing over there. He must have found some good sweet grass. Wonder if he has any friends with him yet. See him over there. Let me zoom in on you. There he is. All right. And this is the food box. Ooh, with a bright, bright sun. All right, let me grab my gear and we'll go. What I do in the morning before I take off is I sort my gear before I repack it. And so you begin to see me putting things in different kinds of stacks here. I do have some more breakfast I'm going to eat still, and I do have some more coffee that I'm going to eat, a drink. And obviously I have to strike my tent and get everything out from inside. So this is the Mountain Hardwear Ghost UL2. It's extremely lightweight, around 2 pounds, some change, a little bit more. Lightweight material seems to be very durable. I've enjoyed it, excuse me. You'll see inside that I have my static V, which is really a summer weight sleep pad. So underneath that I have my Thermarest Z-Rest, I believe it's called, just to give me some better R value when it got cold last night. And that worked. I did not get chilled from the ground up, even though it went down to 27. So that's, I guess, about it on this front. I'm using my Katahdin Be Free to refill the water bottle that I attached to the pack strap. This is my quick grab water bottle. This water had some, still does, looks like, had some ice in it this morning, and that's just because of the nature of the temperature last night. 27. It stayed in the bear storage because I didn't want to put the lid on it. I didn't want to. I had to keep my Be Free. I had to keep that inside of my sleeping bag to keep it warm so I wouldn't damage it. So doing that. Let's come over here though. Talk some route planning. All right. So yesterday, came in the park, came up here, and I parked at the overnight parking. I took the Appalachian Spur Trail up to the AT, and I followed the AT to here. I actually took the Virginia Horse Trail here because I knew it was headed to the same spot, and then came up here. Now at this point, where the Wilburn Ridge Trail peels off, right here, I took the AT because the wind was coming from this direction, and this offered slightly more protection. There were a couple spots where I was just hammered. I was horrified to see the temperature had dropped to 35. It was bitter, okay? But this Wilburn Ridge Trail goes over the top, so I'm thinking about doing that for a little bit of a variation on the way back. So I'll pick up the AT, follow it along here till I get to the signpost for the Wilburn Ridge, and then follow the Wilburn Ridge. They're almost exactly the same. In fact, I think they are the same distance. And then come back down the AT. Maybe I'll take the AT this time instead of the Virginia Highlands Horse Trail through here. Back to the AT connector and down. And that'll finish my trip. So that's the plan right now. I am completely packed up. I've struck my camp and I'm ready to head out. I'm going to be going down that way on the Appalachian Trail, back through Rhododendron Gap, and I'm going to pick up the Appalachian Trail northbound there. Well, I'll be going northbound anyway. But I want to pick up the Wilburn Ridge Trail. That is my plan. So, I'm off. Once again, a truly spectacular view this morning on the AT northbound, and some friends who are roaming through quietly. This is one of those things that's just kind of crazy to think about, but yesterday this entire knob over here was sheeted in snow on this side. All the trees were clinging with white. The winds were whipping through at about, they said 45 to 55 miles per hour gusts, steady, sustained winds between 20 and 30 some miles an hour. But today, it's this benevolent kind of thing. It's in the 40s right now. Light breeze, feels great. Kind of crazy. Well, I'm still on the AT. I missed my turnoff for the, it goes up this way. I missed my turnoff for the Wilson Ridge Trail. I think because I was walking into the sun and there was a lot of glare on melting ice and water and stuff like that. And so if there was a sign, I just didn't see it. But that's okay, no harm, no foul. Wilson Ridge and AT go to exactly the same point. I just would have been going up a little bit over the top instead of around the side like I am. So just to update you, still beautiful trail. Still very happy to be out here instead of, in the city somewhere, which really can get old pretty quickly. So hope you're still enjoying it. I'll show you a view when I get up here. Hey, this is the path down, and that's the vista of the land I will traverse ahead of me. Gorgeous morning. Well, I'm off the AT again, and I'm looking way over on the mountain over there. I don't know if you can even tell. Pardon the shaking, is because of the super zoom and the wind. But there are some ponies up there on that hill. And where am I? I've been hiking along here. I missed this pinnacle on the Wilburn Ridge Trail, but you'll see here the crest trail's in a mile. This is the rhododendron gap trail going this way, and I walk over here, and this is the Wilburn Ridge Trail here. And that means that lone signpost down that way marks the AT. So this is where they're very close. And I'm just going to pick up the wind. I'm going to try to talk close to the phone because of the wind noise. I'm sure it's whipping up. Ridge with ponies over there. Signpost, you can see the Wilburn Ridge Trail going across from this altitude. That's the peak I missed when I missed my turn to start with. But I'm on the second highest point. You can see the AT down there. It wraps around that side. And this is the pretty spectacular 360-degree view that the Wilburn Ridge Trail gives you. You don't have the same spectacular view if you follow the Appalachian Trail. But yesterday with the winds, this was definitely the way to go. All right, hope you enjoyed. So this is where you enter Grayson Highlands State Park and leave behind Mount Rogers High Country. Be bear aware, of course. Be also pony aware, and be wind aware. I do not think this was like this yesterday, but it looks like the winds came through and just picked up that edge and ripped it off. Crazy. So I might report that if I have opportunity. Down there, that road you see is the Virginia Highlands Horse Trail. But I'm going to take the AT today, which goes this way. Wow. Look at that. That was knocked over too. Wilburn Ridge sign. Okay, this is a portion of the Appalachian Trail that I've never taken before because I've always gone down the Virginia Highlands Horse Trail. But it is the portion that goes to, I don't think I have, maybe I have once. Anyway, it goes to Massey Gap. And it's just something I haven't really done before. So, I'll see where it goes today. I think I'll enjoy that. This is nature's water faucet. Definitely drink that water. Well, I'd filter it even so because of animals, but it trickles off down there, down across the Virginia Highlands Horse Trail. That little peak over there is one I have to cross to get back down again. But for now, the AT beckons ahead of me again. Curving back around, I'll head back down to that open area in just a little bit. Pretty. How quickly these things go. All right, if I followed that route that way, I'd be following the AT northbound towards Wise Shelter, 1.4 miles. But I'm headed to the overnight backpackers lot, which is along the AT Spur Trail, and that is this way. So this is where I got a little turned around yesterday briefly, looking for the AT Spur. Eventually I saw this signpost. You can see the blue paint up here on the rock too. Admittedly, it was windy, and I was focusing on, there's another one right there, focusing on the wind as I was going forward, worrying about trees and things like that. Glad I took the tent instead of the hammock. Let's see, here it's just basically this grassy open area. There's a pole down there that indicates that you're on the spur. But if you didn't know it coming from the other direction, it's just a pole in the field. And you can't see it the whole way. So I think I clung pretty close to the trees over here and found the spur ultimately on my way down. So, kind of bittersweet at this point because I only have about 8/10 of a mile back to the parking lot. But as always, I do have gorgeous views. Grayson Highlands and the Mount Rogers High Country definitely give you gorgeous views. All right, I'll pick up a little bit later. There's a beautiful sort of wooded area with moss and creeks and stuff, kind of springs, I should say, flowing through it. And I'll pick back up when I get down to that. This is a really cool spot here. I'm speaking quietly because I just saw a doe, and I'm not sure where she went. She saw me and swished her tail in alarm, so there may be some fawns around here somewhere. I don't want to startle them, but I saw deer up here yesterday, and they just sort of looked at me as I was coming through. Everywhere you look around here, there's just beauty. And this is a kind of a different, it's a mixed forest here. You can see some hemlocks growing up. Old trees. Look at the limbs falling off of this one. I'm sure that was one of the ones that was making me twitch. And then up here, you have huge rocks that you can make out through the trees. Down here we have this kind of spring-fed area, and this was where I saw the deer yesterday. As you can see from the sparkles, there's just water running everywhere. And a beautiful trail ahead. The moss is closing in here. This side of the mountain doesn't get as much wind. It's absolutely quiet here actually right now. It wasn't yesterday though, actually, I'll say that. I paused here for a shot of the treetops. They were whipping around in the wind. So it was pretty spooky yesterday, but today, whatever wind there is up top. It's not here. Haven't had a breeze in a while. If you listen carefully, you can hear the creek ahead. This is the one that has multiple cascades, I believe. Heard it yesterday. I remember coming out on this bald right after it. This open area anyway. More open. Blueberry thickets, huckleberry thickets. Yeah, you can really hear the water running here. I don't remember that sound from yesterday, but it's because the wind was so strong that the wind drowned out the sound of the water. Or maybe a whole lot more water is coming down today than yesterday. We'll find out in just a moment. It's just the angle. It's about the same. But isn't it pretty? Gorgeous. Running its way down the mountain. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's kind of got a mature heartland in here. I think that was down before, but I don't really remember it. It's just amazing. You walk along. Some yellow flowers there, the pink flowers there, all over the forest floor. And then just really beautiful woodland. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and so winds down my weekend hike. This part of the trail turns into a creek here for a while. blue blazes of the spur trail. One's a nice attempt at steps. Completely overrun here. I'm assuming there's a lot of recent rain. There's a nice little creek that we have in here. And the last little couple hundred feet of the spur trail in a thick rhododendron thicket, which is really nice. Another little creek up ahead. Yeah, pretty. And behold, beyond is the parking lot. Oh, I hope you've enjoyed this overnighter. It was a crazy one, but a gorgeous one, and I'm so glad that I took it. Thanks for watching. Bentbrook out.